Hello, and welcome to today's Partner Academy Live webcast. You are listening to the Time to Thrive series presents Delivering the Perfect Pitch. Welcome to the first monthly webcast of our second season, dedicated to helping sales specialists gain greater solution knowledge and world-class selling skills. Join us the second Wednesday of every month at 8 a.m. Pacific for a new session dedicated to improving your sales performance. And now, without any delay, it is my pleasure to hand you over to your speaker today, who is Mark Murray. He is a GM for Corporate Communications at Microsoft. Mark, you now have the floor.
Great. Thanks, everyone, and thank you for the introduction. Really pleased to be with you guys, and pleased to see representation from different parts of the world, and representation from both Microsoft employees and our partner community. I want to apologize in advance for my voice. I am the proud parent of a 4-year-old, and as any of you who are parents know, 4-year-olds are also known as germ factories. So it's a good thing that this presentation wasn't last week, because I spent all of last week with laryngitis. So it would have been sort of a mime program for the Partner Excellence broadcast. A very quiet broadcast if it had been last week. So if my voice gets a little scratchy, you'll know why. In addition, I want to invite folks to interrupt with questions, stop me if there's a piece that you want to dig in a little bit deeper on, or if you have a question about how to make something come to life. I really am eager to have this be a conversation. So questions in real time, questions at the end of my presentation, or as Deb mentioned, questions on the LinkedIn site after the actual session. Really eager to have this be a conversation and to continue the conversation even after this hour. I also want to thank, in particular, all of the partners that have joined us this morning. Our partner network is really just a huge part of the Microsoft team. We know that we couldn't do what we do without you. And I know that whether it's the Microsoft sales specialists or the partners, I know that you guys are out there on the front lines telling the Microsoft story every day. The goal of this session is to give you some additional tools to help you tell that story even more effectively, and frankly to get feedback from you guys on where you're struggling, where you need more assistance, where you think the story isn't working. The title of this session was kind of a little bit overblown and aspirational, The Perfect Pitch. I sort of think of it as a little bit different. It's really, I think of the title as being some ideas and tools to help you perfect your pitch, because I know that every successful pitch has to be tailored to the unique audience that you're talking to, the unique environment that you're selling in, the history of that customer, so there's no one size fits all. So in addition to the session today and the conversation we're going to have, we're going to be posting the entire deck and a number of other resources for you, and we'll be adding some additional slides and resources before we post the package tomorrow. And you can always feel free to contact me with additional requests for information or assistance. My alias is M. Murray, M-M-U-R-R-A-Y. So with that, let me just kick it off. As I think everyone knows, this is an amazing year. I work in corporate communications. It's an amazing year to be doing communications for the company. We're having the biggest launch year in the company's history, bar none. It's a unique, perfect storm when all of our products, the major products and many of our minor products, are all going through a refresh cycle, a major launch year, and it really is an exciting time to be trying to communicate about the company. It's also an exhausting time to be trying to communicate about the company, but I'm not telling you anything you don't know there. If you just think about the sheer volume of launches that we have going over a 12 to 15 month period, obviously Windows 8, the next version of Office, new versions of virtually all of our server and database products, upgrades to Windows Phone, upgrades to Bing, new features and entertainment functionality coming to Xbox. It's an amazing year for the company. And from a storytelling perspective, trying to communicate about the company, it creates some challenges. There's obviously huge opportunities. It's a great problem to have, but it does create some challenges. If you're communicating about so many different things, it can get confusing to customers. It can get confusing to the media. They can have trouble making sense of it, and so the media filter that our customers see can be very disjointed. There's an old adage that if you're trying to tell 10 stories, you're really telling no stories. So one of the challenges we face is how do we make sense of this avalanche of news and all of these different launches and have it make sense to our customers. One of the things that we sometimes try to do is we try to boil it down to talk about individual business groups. We talk about Windows and the success of Windows 7, fastest growing operating system in computer history, well over 600 million copies sold and still growing strong, 7 copies a second. We talk about Office 2010, the fastest growing version of Office, selling 5 times as fast as the previous version. The problem with talking in that way is that it tends to present the company as a set of individual silos. It tends to break the company apart and tell a very fragmented story. And so we have excellent resources, excellent materials that we'll be providing to you guys if you want to tell a business group focused story. But in some ways, we think that even that is not the best way to tell the Microsoft story. So what I'll be spending the rest of the hour on is thinking about how do we bubble it up? How do we talk about who we are as a company, what drives us as a company, what makes us unique as a company, and how we're stitching things together in a more comprehensive way than just business group by business group. So, at the most basic level, we start the story by talking about who are we as a company. And there's many different ways that you can approach this. Some people take it from a numerical approach or a financial approach. That at one level, last year Microsoft generated over roughly $74 billion in revenue. Our cash from operations was on the order of $32 billion, which is a 17% increase year over year, demonstrating the health of the company and the strength of our momentum. Last year alone, we returned about $11 billion to our shareholders, big numbers. Over the past decade, we've returned about $180 billion to shareholders in the form of dividends or stock repurchase. But those are fairly abstract numbers. If you boil it down, we're a company of about 90,000 people, working in over 190 companies. We're an incredibly diverse population, both in terms of gender and ethnicity and race, the traditional measures of diversity, but also in terms of the kind of work that we do and the kind of skills that we bring to the table and the disciplines that we bring to bear on making technology. Obviously, we've got developers and testers and marketers and communicators and project managers, but we've also got anthropologists who understand how people are using our technology. We've got economists who are digging into how trends like big data and social networking, social media are reshaping information flows and what business customers can get out of the information that's now available through all of these different feeds. We've got, designers and artists and people that have Academy Awards and Emmy Awards sitting on their bookshelves here on campus to underscore the emphasis that we're putting now on making our products more accessible and bringing them to life for customers. So diversity at Microsoft is not just the traditional picture of diversity, it's also the disciplines and the experiences that our employees bring to bear on the products and services that we create. And obviously we're a company that cares very deeply about the communities that we operate in, and we are committed to being a great neighbor, a great participant in every community that we operate in. So if you may start sometimes as you talk to your customers or talk to your communities with just a sense of who we are as a company, because I think often it's very eye-opening to people who have one picture of who Microsoft is and how we operate. And what drives us? What drives us as a company? Even from the earliest days of Microsoft, we thought very, very big. Our earliest ambitions really helped to propel the PC industry toward a goal that at that day and age seemed unthinkable, this notion of a PC on every desk and in every home. The PC revolution was all about personal empowerment, that if we provide affordable tools to every person, that it'll unleash creativity in a way that the world had never seen before. And that spirit is very much alive today at Microsoft, maybe even more than ever, as technology has continued to grow to the point that it's critical in all of our lives. When you think about how we've updated our ambitions as a company, we no longer think about a PC on every desk, in part because with over 1.5 billion PCs out there in the world, that goal is in many ways well on its way toward being achieved. What we now think about as a company is how do we provide people with access to the information that they need and access to the people and ideas that they love at any time, any place, from any device. And we're always going to be a software company. Software is in our DNA, but increasingly that software that we create is coming to life in the form of these beautiful devices that we and our partners create, and these amazing services that connect people to the information and ideas and people that are integral to their lives. So what drives us is that sense of connection, of bringing people together through compelling devices and rich, always available services. And what sets us apart as a company from our competitors? What's different about Microsoft? In many ways, it's what we like to talk about as the 3 Ps, 3 guiding principles: a people-centric approach to technology, a partner-centric approach to the businesses that we pursue, and an unwavering persistence, a tenacity to keep working on things, keep pushing that rock uphill until we get it right. As I said, our people-centric approach is really based on the belief that technology should work on our behalf and without compromise. It's always been about the personal in personal computing. And that focus, today extends from the personal computer to the web, to this world of devices and cloud services. We believe that, regardless of the choice that someone makes about their device or the services, that those services and devices need to be personal, and that you need to be able to select the devices and services that work best for you. So Bing is an example of our people-centric approach. From the outset, we've taken a different, more personal approach to search. We didn't think that that the model of 10 blue links and a cloud of dust was the right approach. We focused on delivering more personalized results that really help individuals make decisions and get things done. We believe in helping people accomplish their goals, not just, find links that send them off to information. You see this people-centric approach in our unique approach to the phone as well. The obvious approach would have been for us to create a smartphone that was like all the others that were on the market. A grid of icons that launch, a set of applications with, very little connection among those and very little opportunity to personalize. And we took a really different approach, one that's very people-centric. The People Hub on your Windows phone allows you to find and see everything that's happening with the people that you care about in a way that you just can't with an iPhone or an Android phone. And the Windows Phone connects you to all those places where you then connect with the people that you care about. Exchange, Outlook, Gmail if you use it, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And it presents your relationship with those people, directly on your phone, so that at a glance you can see, what's going on in your life in a way that you just can't with other competitive products that are out there on the market. So this notion of, making sure that technology is intensely personal and playing up the personal in our technology is something that was in the DNA of the company from the very beginning, and it's reflected in the products and services that we're bringing to market now. The second of the P's is this notion of being partner-centric. Unlike many other companies in the industry, we didn't try to own everything. We didn't try to build the vertical stack where we were creating the software and the hardware and the services, and that we were locking people into a walled garden. We didn't try to lock people out. We took a different approach of working with hundreds of thousands of partners around the world, whether it's PC manufacturers or application developers or system integrators. We recognized that our success could be multiplied by the success of literally hundreds of thousands of other partners who could build great businesses for themselves by taking advantage of our tools and open platforms. It's one of the great success stories in business, and it's very much a part of our philosophy today. So today we've got more than 640,000 partner companies around the world that are a part of this vibrant ecosystem that surrounds Microsoft and our platforms. The most recent studies indicate that for every dollar that Microsoft makes around the world, our partners make more than $8. So it really is, a win-win ecosystem for both Microsoft and for our partners. It's evident in almost everything we do, but a couple of examples really bear that out. As I mentioned in search, we're taking a very different approach than Google. They are choosing to compete directly with Facebook, with Yelp, and with others, and we're taking a different path. We're partnering with Facebook to advance social search. We're partnering with Twitter to provide real-time search. And obviously we're partnering with Yahoo as we work together to improve overall search quality. a very different philosophy than Google is pursuing. Our smartphone business is also entirely partner-centric. Unlike Apple's vertically integrated strategy, we're working successfully with a variety of partners, whether it's device manufacturers, mobile operators, ISVs. We've got a wide range of device partners like HTC, Samsung, Nokia, creating a wide variety of phones at varying price points and with varying capabilities. So again, it's a richer ecosystem offering more choice and more personalization than the competitor. And then our notion of cloud optimizing every business is also partner-centric. When you think about the enterprise, at the platform layer, Windows Azure provides an easy-to-use cloud platform that supports an incredible variety of technologies. .NET, Node.js, PHP, Linux. We are working across a variety of technologies, and at the application level, we've got a wide range of solutions, both first-party with Office 365 and Dynamics CRM, but they've also built partner networks around their services that really help to round out that service and create a much more comprehensive offering to our customers. Our business model just means that we put partners first in a way that others in our industry don't. When you think about Windows 8, there's going to be some real distinctions between Microsoft and others in the industry about how we work with our partners. We, frankly, are going to make life easier for developers by supporting industry standards in a more robust way. We're going to share more revenue with application developers and content publishers. We're going to have a more predictable process for application approval and content approval. We'll have a payment processing system for partners who want to use it, but we won't force them to use it, unlike others. And we'll respect intellectual property of others, and we'll stand behind our partners. So, no matter how you slice it, I've given you a number of different ways to talk about the unique way in which Microsoft builds its business around partners. But our commitment to partners and our belief that partners are key to the success of our business is really something that sets Microsoft apart. And the third P is really persistence. We, as a company, have demonstrated over our history that we are, willing to invest for the long term. That's what we did in 2001 when we entered the gaming console business. People said we were crazy to be getting into that business. That Sony and at that time Sega and Nintendo really had a lock on that business, and what does Microsoft know about that business? But we were relentless in our belief that this is where the market was going, and that we had some unique ideas about linking the console gaming business to the internet that others really didn't see. We invested and invested and invested, and today Xbox is an amazing success story. For the past 20 months, it's been the number one selling console month after month in the United States. Last year, it was the number one console in the world. Close to 70 million consoles sold worldwide for Xbox 360, and a thriving online gaming network of close to 40 million Xbox Live users. So, an amazing success story and a great example of the persistence that we take. Another example was, frankly, just our decision roughly 20 years ago to get into the enterprise marketplace. At that time, Microsoft was very much a consumer-focused company, and people said we didn't have a chance in the enterprise. We invested, we worked hard, we kept improving, kept listening to customers, kept listening to partners, and today our server and tools business rapidly approaching a $20 billion business. Windows Server is the #1 server worldwide, and we're growing at double digits year after year. So, that persistence to take on new markets, just to keep investing until we get it right, is really a hallmark of Microsoft. And it's something that people should keep in mind as they see us investing in search with Bing, or in smartphones with Windows Phone, or as they see us really, getting in with both feet into the tablet marketplace with Windows 8. People underestimate Microsoft at their peril. I want to talk for just a moment about sort of how we think about some of the bigger areas that we get into. And there's another factor that sets Microsoft apart from some of our competitors, which is our breadth and the fact that we are involved in both the consumer side and in the commercial side. If you look back 10 years or more, there's a pretty clear divide between technology for business and technology for consumers. But in recent years, as more people have worked from home, more people are shopping from work, more people are accessing information online, whether they're at home or at work. People are wanting to bring that same technology that they use and enjoy at home into the workplace and vice versa. The dividing line between work and home is really becoming blurred. And our focus on both the individual consumer and businesses distinguishes us from other companies in our industry. Most of our competitors are either one or the other. Oracle, IBM, VMware. You think about them as really focused on the needs of business. Apple, Google, Amazon, they're primarily targeting individual consumers, not exclusively, but primarily. We choose to do both, and we've consistently benefited by focusing on what's personal, what's unique about individuals and businesses. We've made a lot of investments in delivering, consumer-based online services like MSN or Hotmail or Messenger at massive scale, and that has, really helped to inform our approach for delivering cloud-based business services. Our experience in delivering a global online community for gamers like Xbox Live has really informed our, approach to community-based services and social services in the business context. So, the fact that we have a foot in both camps really helps Microsoft during this era of the consumerization of IT. So when we think about, Microsoft and our offerings for consumers, every enterprise customer is also an individual consumer. And as consumers, our lives are really shaped by our relationships with people, by our relationships with ideas and information, our ability to pursue, interests or hobbies or experiences that we love. And, people are increasingly turning to technology to connect ourselves with people, information, and interests. But they expect, those connections to be consistent, to be personalized, to be social, to work together. We are communicating in ways that nobody ever imagined, a decade ago. We're streaming, we're texting, we're tweeting, we're sharing. So at Microsoft, we believe in delivering amazing, seamless experiences that help consumers to do that. And that we don't believe there should be any, sort of dividing lines or silos between your ability to access that information on different devices. So, that was the genesis between, thinking about how to bring together some of the user interfaces for our different products. So if you look at the presentation, several years ago, if you were to look at the user interfaces for our phones and our computers, personal computers through Windows, and our living room solutions through Xbox, those user interfaces would have looked completely different. There would have been no sense of connection, no sense of an ecosystem, no sense from an individual user that I understand this. I know where I am. I know how to access information. But you look at where we are now with Windows Phone, with Windows 8, with Xbox, and the tiles that provide a unified user interface, a unified consumer experience across all of those different Windows devices, and Microsoft devices. And you think about being able to consume content. We're now at the point where you can begin watching a presentation on your Windows PC. You can stop it. You can get on your bus or on your train, start it up again on your phone, and then get home and complete it on your Xbox, seamlessly, without having to find where you were, remember where you were. That's the magic of integration that we see possible. That's the benefit of a company that is creating a seamless user experience for consumers. And in the commercial space, we also are taking a more integrated approach, an approach that recognizes what the needs of our customers are. Our focus is to cloud optimize every business, giving businesses the ability to focus on what they do best, and enabling them to spend less time worrying about the IT back end and more time worrying about their business, their competitive differentiation. But we also know that businesses want to move to the cloud on their terms. So we provide the most robust and most personalized opportunity for businesses to do that. The private cloud, where people can focus on their on-premises approach, the public cloud through Windows Azure, but many of our customers are going to be wanting to move more cautiously and focus on something that we call the hybrid cloud. We also have, really invested in a layer of rich applications above, the platform level. You think about Dynamics, you think about Office 365, you think about, our CRM online approach. We've got a common architecture across the hybrid environments that enables our customers to embrace the new scope and scale and diversity of today's data, no matter what the location and no matter what their level of maturity or level of comfort with the cloud transformation. So that unique vision of helping customers to get to the cloud on their terms is a real differentiator for us and a real benefit as we have those customer conversations. But as we look to the future, customers want to know whether or not Microsoft, has the vision, has the momentum, whether we're the right long-term bet for them to make. So even as we're focusing on building the best solutions for customers today, we're also as a company looking out into the future, thinking about the trends that are really going to change computing and how people use information technology to accomplish their goals, whether they're individual consumers or large businesses. And the truth is that we can see a number of trends that are, creating conditions for disruption, for rapid progress, for change, and as they converge with important social and business trends, it really is going to create the foundation for breakthroughs that will transform the role that technology plays in all of our lives. I've listed 7 or 8 of those trends here. The changes in the computing ecosystem, the notion of what a computer is, has really changed. We live in a world where previously, quote-unquote, unintelligent objects are really gaining intelligence, becoming connected, and joining the ecosystem of computing. We're entering this notion of an Internet of Things where almost any object can be connected to the Internet and collect data. So cameras, GPSs, cars, phones, houses, appliances. Many of the computers that people are going to interact with in the future are going to be embedded in devices that we don't think of as computers today. So, computing is becoming more pervasive and more invisible as we move forward. And the immense amount of digital devices in our world is driving an explosion of data. Being able to analyze that data, being able to pull insights from that tsunami of data is going to be critical to companies as they try to strive for competitive advantage, and it'll also be critical to other organizations that are trying to serve populations, and critical to individual consumers as they try to find, pursue their interests and their passions. So techniques such as machine learning are increasingly important to manage that huge amount of data and gain insight from it. And you see, a real commitment by Microsoft to this data science, this emerging field of big data. Cloud computing is obviously, a trend that is reshaping how we all think about information technology. Today, roughly 90% of Microsoft's research and development is focused on the cloud. Now, that's not a statement that we could have made 5 years ago, but it indicates how we're moving, our commitment, how we're moving our investments and the innovations that are going to be coming in years ahead. Pervasive displays is another trend that is really reshaping the computing landscape. New advances in display technology are really creating displays that are light, that are portable, that are flexible, that are also much less expensive. So, we're going to be able to, in the future, carry around screens as easily as we carry a magazine today. And there'll be screens embedded wherever they might be useful, in appliances, at home, at work, as we're moving, or in public spaces. And that ubiquitous connectivity as the ability to be connected to the Internet at high speeds expands and fills in the gaps, it'll link our information to those displays whenever and wherever we want them, and it'll link the data of our interactions back to cloud services. So the combination of pervasive displays and ubiquitous connectivity opens up all kinds of new opportunities. Social computing, we've already seen how, the explosion of social networking and sharing is creating huge opportunities in search. It's creating huge opportunities in terms of businesses interacting with their customers. As it becomes even more pervasive in our lives, It's going to open up new opportunities and new challenges. Right now, I think many of us think about social computing as sort of a destination on the web. We go to Facebook, we go to Twitter, but increasingly, I think it's going to be a intuitive element of our lives where we simply use it. It almost becomes invisible, and we use it as a source of decision-making with friends, with experts, with the help of people we don't even know, in a way that's extremely natural going forward. And then finally, there's huge advances going on in the area of how we interact with technology. Previously, primary interaction was a keyboard or a mouse. You see with voice recognition and devices like Kinect that we're going to be interacting with our technology in ways that are far more natural, far more organic, that we never expected before. And Microsoft is really leading the way in this with things like voice recognition and Kinect. We see it integrated into our phones. We see it integrated into our living room solutions. Now with the Kinect for Windows SDK and other products, we're going to see it really explode into the workplace and into the home, leveraging that massive installed base of Windows. So, the opportunity for this, for more natural, more human interactions with our technology is really exciting, and is going to reshape the face of computing over the next decade. So these are enormous trends that are going to be sweeping the technology landscape over the next few years. And the challenge, of course, is, what are you going to do about it? How does a company respond to these kinds of disruptive changes? And at Microsoft, this is something we spend a huge amount of time thinking about. We understand, how important it is to our customers and to our partner community. And so we look at it as, a balance of, embracing, the new, embracing these disruptive trends, using them to reimagine what technology can do, using them to reimagine our product, but also thinking very hard about how to ensure that there is a smooth upgrade path, a smooth transition for our customers. Something like Microsoft Office is a great example where, 5 years ago, people, they would not have guessed how valuable a tool or a new invention like OneNote could be. And now for many users, OneNote is their favorite aspect of Office. You think about the changes in the business model of Office, where 5 years ago, Office was really a piece of packaged software that you built or you installed on the computer, that you bought or you installed on the computers in your organization. Today, in the next version of Office, we're really talking about a subscription model where someone buys a subscription to Office and can have it running on 5 different machines of various form factors and can have access to their information anytime, anywhere, on any of those devices. Can be editing a document on one device, shut it down, move to the next device, whether that might be even in a public space, fire up Office and find that their cursor is in exactly the same place in exactly the same document that they left, an hour ago. So really exciting, evolution of our products responding to some of these trends in technology. We also respond to these disruptive changes by just ensuring that we are always staying one step ahead with the best and brightest people. And this is an interesting area here because, I think that some people might think that, in this day and age, that Microsoft would struggle in terms of hiring the best and the brightest. But, we go head to head with the Googles, with the Facebooks, with other key players in our industry for some of the top minds, and more often than not, we win. We get them to come to Microsoft where they know that they can do their best work. And when we talk to people and ask them, why did you choose Microsoft, there's a real consistency in the answers. People want to have an impact on scale. People want to work on products that are going to touch millions or hundreds of millions or even billions of users, and they know that they can do that at Microsoft. People also want to be able to work on a variety of technologies, and nowhere can you work on as many different technologies, from Windows to Office to servers to phones to search to entertainment and Xbox as you can at Microsoft. So, we are very proud of the intellectual capacity at Microsoft and our ability to stay ahead of the game with these disruptive technology trends. We also believe that to fully embrace the kind of changes that are coming, that you've got to be committed to partnership, you've got to be committed to openness, you've got to be willing to share in a way that respects intellectual property, and that's always been a tenet of Microsoft's approach. We also take a long-term approach, as I mentioned earlier. Microsoft Research is one of the crown jewels of the company as we embrace this kind of disruptive technology. We've got more than 850 scientists and researchers working in labs all around the world, looking 5 and 10 years out over the horizon beyond today's products to imagine, what might come next, and then collaborating really closely with our product groups to drive that kind of long-range thinking into the work that's going on our products. Virtually every product in our portfolio includes contributions from Microsoft Research. And this long-term approach really gives us the agility to respond when the world changes, or or to change the world ourselves, as we have with things like Connect. And then, if you're gonna embrace this kind of disruptive change, you've got to also be willing to make it real, translate it into products and services that deliver real value. So that's where our focus on breadth, on scale, on taking these kinds of innovations and scaling them out to reach millions or tens of millions of people. We've got lots of small startup incubation projects within the company: Office Labs, Fuse Labs, the Startup Business Group, the Garage, ThinkSpace. That kind of behind-the-scenes skunk works really helps us to be thinking creatively, to be understanding how new technologies or new disruptive business models can be incorporated into our products, and build those out over the course of time. And then finally, one of the things that has really been exciting to see is how Microsoft has embraced design over time. There was a time when Microsoft was perceived to be a great technology company, but a not-so-great design company, the company that brought you lots of beige boxes. And I don't think anyone is saying that about Microsoft today. Many of our products are cutting edge. Many professional designers are now saying, whoa, the company that's really pushing industrial design right now is not necessarily Apple, it's Microsoft. And there's example after example of that, from the phone to some of the form factors of our PCs and tablets, to the Surface that we announced earlier this year, to some of our hardware innovations. It's really great to see the emphasis on design, beautiful, intuitive design at Microsoft. And it's been exciting to see that people are really starting to notice. The past year we've seen some phenomenal coverage where people have been taking a step back, looking at Microsoft, looking at the momentum that we have, and saying, wow, this is a company that is resurgent. This is a company that, is really positioning itself to be a dominant player despite these disruptive technology trends. You see some of my favorite articles here on this slide, and these are all live links so that you can click on them and click through to read them. My personal favorite, obviously, is the last one. VentureBeat is not necessarily an outlet that has always been so kind to Microsoft. They tend to be more of an Apple outlet. But when we brought forward Windows 8 and brought forward the Surface Computer and brought forward some of the innovation that we're doing in Bing and Office and Xbox and phones, this reporter, frankly, couldn't control himself anymore, and he wrote an article with the very provocative title of Microsoft Kicks Ass. There was a round of high-fiving here in the PR team for turning around someone who had spent his life as sort of more of an Apple guy than a Microsoft guy, and to get that kind of a headline from that reporter. I wanted to close with just some resources for you all, because I know that you're, meeting with customers, meeting with key audiences every day, and so I wanted to give you resources that could update you on a daily basis. The first is the Microsoft News Center, which is really our newsroom. Every day is basically a daily newspaper or daily broadcast outlet that the company manages that carries the news of the day. Feature stories, slideshows, videos, press releases. It's all there. It can be your one-stop shop for what's new at the company. The official Microsoft blog's been running for about a year and a half, and we've just made a decision to make that also a place where whenever news of significant nature happens at the company, there will always be a reflection of it on that Microsoft blog, whether it's pointing to other resources or whether it's the dominant story. And then a place called Next at Microsoft, which is a blog run by our innovation team that has just a treasure trove of stories about how Microsoft is responding to these transformational trends that I talked about earlier in the presentation. I just want to close with this quote from Alan Kay, famous technologist, that the best way to predict the future is to invent it. That is, frankly, the approach that we're taking at Microsoft today. That's what you see in the labs. That's what you see in the technology transfer from the labs to our business groups. And that's what is responsible for the resurgence that you see in some of that great press coverage that I identified. So with that, I'll close, open it up for any questions that you all have. Thank you for your attention. And we'll be posting all of this material and additional resources for you on the partner site.
Thank you, Mark. I would like to to invite everyone to continue the discussion. If you'd like to, please join us on the Sales Specialist group on LinkedIn after the webcast, where Mark Murray will continue to answer any of the questions. And before we go ahead and close, I'm going to go ahead and bring up a survey slide. You'll see that momentarily. If you wouldn't mind, please, before logging out today, just popping in your email address to access the survey questions. We're hoping that you found today's information helpful, and if you enjoyed the webcast or have feedback on how we can provide you with a better event, please just let us know. The survey scores are on a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest score. If you have any questions, please feel free to also use the Q&A manager. It's up on the upper left-hand corner of your screen. You can go ahead and type in your question and then click Ask, and we can give you a minute or two to go ahead and do that. Mark, any final comments while we're waiting to see if anyone has any questions for you?
Yeah, the final comment I would make is that, just to reiterate what I said at the outset, which is I want to thank everyone, both whether you're a Microsoft employee or a partner, for the work that you do and the frontline interaction that you do with customers and with other key audiences. You know, it's a huge company, and it's sometimes hard to find the information that you need. You sometimes get questions from customers or other audiences, and if we can provide any sort of resource for you, my alias is mmurray@microsoft.com. Be happy to take questions, to track down information, and help you guys perfect your pitch, perfect your conversations with those customers and key audiences. So thank you for that, and thanks for the attention today, and please do let me know if there is any information or any resources that would be helpful to you as you do your daily work.
Thank you, Mark. Just a quick reminder that all materials from today's presentation will be available on the Academy website within 24 hours, and partners, you may access the webcast recording through the Partner Learning Center. I'd like to extend a thank you to our presenter, Mark, and thank you, audience, for logging in and joining us today.